So technically this isn't completely off topic since Ben 10 is owned by Cartoon Network, who is owned by Warner Brothers, so loophole? Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about DC Fandome, what I'm excited for along with the things I'm expecting from these different titles in the future, and a brief discussion on what I think about the things that were announced. So without further ado, let's get into it. After all these teasers, we finally got a look at the next Batman game, Gotham Knights. So Gotham Knights is a new video game coming next year focusing around the Bat family who steps up to protect Gotham after Batman's supposed death. From the gameplay footage that they showed, I'm really interested in this. I'm not sure if it's connected to the previous Batman games. I've heard somewhere that it might be a soft reboot. Again, I'm not sure. When I first saw this game, it immediately reminded me of Marvel's Avengers, which is a mixed bag amongst fans. Quick thoughts on that game, even though I know this is a DC video. I like it, but after I finish the story, I don't think I'm gonna go back to it in comparison to me going back and playing, say, Spider-Man or Arkham Knight, which is the only Batman game I've ever played. I like to play games solo, but I guess we'll see in the upcoming future, and by that I mean a few weeks, what the actual finalized version of this game ends up being. Like said game, Gotham Knights looks to have a storyline that you can play as single player, but there are a lot of co-op heavy elements. And with this game, I'm wondering how similar it'll be to that, knowing that it'll have co-op as well, and during single player, will there be the option to switch from character to character? I'm interested to see how different the characters play from one another, and I already know I'm gonna spend a lot of time as Batgirl and Red Hood. In other news related to Batman, of course they dropped their first teaser of the Batman. I didn't know what to expect. I'm glad this isn't another origin story because everyone on the planet knows who Batman is at this point. I'm really digging the unsettling-ish gothic aesthetic. I wasn't sure about the suit. I'm not a big fan of a heavily armored Batman, but seeing it here, it looks pretty amazing. I mean, there wasn't any doubt that I wasn't going to get used to it by the time the movie came out. And I must say, I'm loving the theme of red in this movie. I mean, have you seen my channel? I'm really excited for this for a number of reasons, but mostly because this will be my first experience seeing a Batman solo movie in theaters. So, after being delayed, and then getting a director, and then having them leave, and then getting another director, and having that director leave, and a bunch of other stuff that I don't want to get into, the Flash movie has finally been teased properly. As we know from the panel and previous announcements, this movie will be focused on the Flashpoint storyline. The Flash is one of my favorite superheroes, but if I'm being honest, and I know there's nothing I can do to change any of this, I'm still not sure how I feel about them doing Flashpoint, considering we have the comic, the animated movie, and the Flash TV show did their version of Flashpoint as well. Maybe my opinion will change once I see the film, but I still stand by that the Flash's first theatrical movie should be a solo adventure, not the Flash featuring Batman movie. But I'm still going to see it regardless. They released concept art of the suit, and I'm happy that he's out of the armor that he was in Justice League. I didn't hate that suit. I can understand why they went for that design choice, but it did look slightly uncomfortable for a speedster to be in. This new suit is a design that I hope they attain for Grant Gustin's Flash at some point. On the other side of the Speed Force, get it? Because the Flash. What I'm interested to see in this new season of The Flash is how exactly Barry gets his powers back, and how he faces the toll of not having to rely on his abilities all the time. Last time we saw him, he was on a time limit, and in the scissor reel, we're told that he has a few hours left before he runs out of speed. Due to the whole COVID outbreak, like most shows, production had to shut down, and they had to wrap the season up early, leaving us on a cliffhanger. So I'm also interested to see how exactly they conclude this arc and shift over to the next. But what I'm mostly excited to see is how they portray Godspeed in comparison to his last appearance in Season 6. Not much to say about this one. I'm just really interested what James Gunn will do with the Suicide Squad. I wasn't as excited to watch this movie before, but the panel alone made me excited before they showed all the behind the scenes footage. You can tell just how much the cast cares about the project and how much fun they had. In other Suicide Squad news, Suicide Squad kills Justice League, which is connected to the Batman Arkham games. From the cinematic we saw, I was highly entertained. I just finished binge watching the animated Harley Quinn show, and during this, I just found myself back in that same place of enjoying watching these characters act as chaotic, as silly as they want. Like most people at first, I was confused as to why there was an evil Superman running around. People theorized that maybe it was Bizarro, but from what we see during the teaser, it seems to be that the Justice League could be being controlled by Brainiac. Like a couple of other comic book based games that are coming out, this also seems to be a co-op heavy game. So my question is, will this be the next generation of most superhero games? But what stuck out for me about the information we got is that you'll be able to switch between your characters. I'm also interested to see if you actually kill off a few members of the Justice League, or by the end of the game, you just team up with them to fight against a bigger threat that's been pulling the strings behind the scenes. As all of us are, I'm really interested to see what Zack Snyder's Justice League movie turns out to be. In all honesty, I was one of the people who were skeptical about this. I wasn't sure if it was even a thing, but here we are. From what I've heard, it'll be 4 parts, each part being an hour, and I've also heard that it'll just be maybe a 4-hour movie, but however they release it, I'll be there to watch it. Also, as mentioned before, I'm a big Flash fan, and to me it feels like there was a lot of Flash being teased, and it was said that the character would do something that hasn't been done before. And we get a glimpse of him running through what I'm assuming is the Speed Force, so I'm intrigued to see how exactly he plays within this movie. I'm also looking forward to seeing Black Suit Superman, and Superman being the symbol of hope that he is. I mean, we got a little bit of that attitude during the other Justice League movie, but not a lot since it was basically at the end. For those wondering, I don't think it matters, but I don't hate the last Justice League movie, but I don't love it either. Although I do remember enjoying it. It's a movie, it was made, it tried its best, and now we can move on to the next chapter. I really enjoyed this panel solely on the fact that almost each and every person who came on sort of threw shade at Joss Whedon's version without actually throwing shade. It was just the way they worded it. You could tell what they were talking about, and it was just so entertaining. So that was just my quick little thoughts, opinions, or whatever video about DC Fandome. Whenever or whatever Marvel or Disney are planning for their version of this, I might do a video on that as well. But until then, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you want, and I'll see you when I see you.